And yes, for anyone that cares, I still do have this machine. It's just been sitting out here under that big tarp right there for quite some time. So, anyway, if I can even remember here, see if she starts. Choke somewhere down there. Starter switch still not hooked up. Take the choke off a little bit. Not even that bad. Almost like it was running just the other week, even though it's been sitting for well over a month. More than a month. Don't use it very often. So I'm switching right now. This one here is going back to the, or staying out here, and that one's coming back to the city for a while. Well, I'm getting rid of some diesel horde today. Guy's coming for a 10 horse. The ones I didn't really want to sell, but going to be letting one go tonight. He actually wants to buy both of them, but I'm going to keep one for myself. The only ones I was actually really interested was the little guys here. I just finished carrying one into the garage. You can see there a difference between 4 horse and 6 horse. And I'm going to be carrying one of these to the garage right now, and I'm going to try it. That one has no tank, and that one there and this one both look good. I'll probably take this one first. Give it a try, see if it starts. Okay, so it's Saturday morning, and kind of just deciding what I'm going to do for the long weekend. Got the TRX, well, 400EX for some people, in the city here. Thinking I'm going to make myself an exhaust tip from scratch. I'm going to buy some piping. Well, basically I'm going to weld a plate over top it. I'm going to drill it to 2-inch, and then I'm going to make my own baffle that connects to the exhaust. I'd have to almost show you. That's the starter button switch in a Ziploc baggie there, because it's not waterproof, because you know, the original one's kind of broken. So I'm going to do that. I'm thinking also I'm going to cut off these back tail light brackets here. Those guys right there, because I'm not going to use them. Now I don't have to cut them off, I could just leave them there, but to be honest, I'll probably never put a tail light back on this thing. So go ahead and just do a little bit to it. Thinking that I was going to sell it. Have a few people interested. I did have it online for 1,800 bucks. So, you know, it technically needs a fair bit of work still. Like, the tires are kind of shitty. It's going to need brakes soon. Stuff like that. But what I'm thinking of doing today is playing around with some of these diesel motors. Now, I already sold a few of them. This one here has the intake heater, so I'm not going to use this one. But I'm thinking I'm going to use this one here, which probably has nothing wrong with it. Yeah, that shaft there has never had anything on the shaft. So, that's casting flaw. Yeah, it's just casting flaw. So what I'm thinking of doing is I'm going to put this, because it has a 3/4 inch shaft, onto that sucker right there. So that one there has a 5 horsepower Briggs on the pressure washer. This is a 4.5 horsepower diesel, so it'll have more than enough power to power that pressure washer. It's not a very high pressure pressure washer there. If you look there, it's only 2,000 psi. So at 3,400 RPM. So I'm not sure if that model number is showing up there. So it requires 3 kilowatts, 4 horsepower. So hey, it actually only requires 4 horsepower according to that. So yeah, I'll be able to power that perfectly fine. Now, when I picked up this pressure washer here, I traded a rope hand from my old 94 Dodge Dakota that I had. Not too many videos I had on my YouTube channel of that old piece. So when I got it, the gas tank was kind of full of water. It was pretty rusted out, and the gas tank actually is sitting right there in that corner. And I got a bucket here somewhere of the rest of the parts. So what I'm thinking of doing is I'm going to install a diesel motor. Now technically what I should do before I go through the hassle of installing the diesel motor is I should take the carb off this guy right here, the carb and everything, and put the carb on that and make sure the pump's good. But I know they sell rebuild kits for those pumps, so I'm not too worried about it. I need a pressure washer because I can't really make money without a pressure washer. These frickin' motors are so frickin' dirty that, you know what I mean, I should really wash them up because something that's washed and clean, I know I'll get a lot more money. So like, let's see this transmission here from this old tractor. If I wash that and I sell it on eBay, I'm going to get a hell of a lot more money than just having it ugly and dirty like that. So yes, I know I could put that in a parts washer, but I prefer to use a pressure washer on it. And then of course I'd check to make sure no water got in the oil and stuff like that. This one here I picked up at Princess Auto, but stupid me, before we moved the shed, I went to took the inlet right here and it snapped off. Now the thing is, I'm lucky, where it snapped off right here is actually where it only threads into the pump, and I could get that out, and I could just, that's just a low pressure garden hose inlet. So technically that one there, I could just go to Home Depot, get my that's a little bit bigger than 5/8, a little bit bigger threads. Spider. Anyway, it might rain now, even though we had rain for the last 20 days. I could technically just get that sucker going, but I prefer to actually get something with a little bit more power. Now, according to the tag on this one here should have more PSI, but it has less volume. So I don't know how that all works out. I guess different size tips and shit. But this one here being a semi-commercial grade unit, yeah, I'm just thinking that pump would look nice on the diesel. So I know I've been yadding or just mumbling about bullshit for the last 5 minutes, so I guess I better pull it out and actually start stripping this motor off it. So get back to you guys in a few minutes. And as for the bolt pattern, I already checked, it will bolt right up to the diesel. And as for the hoses, I got that unit right there, which has a brand new hose. From that one, the reason why it has a brand new hose is I brought it to work hoping that my employee at work, the guy I work with, I shouldn't say my employee, would be able to use a pressure washer. But no, he had to have the hose across the exhaust until it burnt. So but anyway, that right there, the commercial grade huge heavy duty one, is what came off this unit. So I don't know which one I'm going to use yet. I guess that's the kind of pressure regulator, pressure setting, I don't know, I gotta kind of figure that out. So anyway, got her out. Now time to bring her in the shop. And there we go. All of them side by side here. And there's another shot of them from the front there, showing the difference in sizes. This one here, the air filter's sticking out a bit more because it has a intake heater on it. None of those ones do. Okay, so I have the pressure washer pump off here, off this motor, and got the diesel engine I'm going to use right here. But anyway, yeah, this motor is going to fit fine. It's pretty huge. Pump will hang out just over here, and if I want to, I could make a bracket to put a battery and actually use the electric starter. I'm going to be removing the grid heater because there's no need for that on this one. And other than that, that motor's actually going to look pretty good on that frame. A little bit oversized, but my plans is to use this for wet sandblasting, so it should be a pretty decent setup for that. So anyway, get back to you guys once I get the motor mounted. One thing I might do first is I might paint it. I might take this off and paint it with like kind of a rocker guard, get a little bit of a black finish, make it look a little bit newer, so because that yellow is pretty horrible looking and faded. Okay, so originally I was just going to paint just the base the motor sits on mostly because it looks horrible, but I started looking at ugly looking creamy yellow paint. That's what it's meant to look like, of course, right there. I decided I'm going to blast the whole thing. So I'm going to pull off that green tape, and I'm going to buzz it down with the air sander real quick and give it a coat of black textured, I'm kind of thinking rocker guard, but I really don't know yet. I got some random crap up there, so I'm thinking that, not the undercoating, that will not dry. I'm thinking I might just use some of this stuff on it here. That stuff holds up awesome. I think, yeah, it's the same kind of stuff. Yeah, same stuff here. And about 2 weeks ago, I put it on this bottle here, Windex. Actually, it's just water, just used for welding. And I wanted to see when I flex it like this, and like, will it split? Will it crack? But no, it's actually holding up very, very nice. You see, it will not crack, and like, it's very, very hard to mark. I can mark it if I really tried, but not with really my fingernails. So now I did the same thing with truck bed liner. I don't have it, but I sprayed truck bed liner on a water bottle. I pushed it about like that much, and it cracked. So I'd rather use that stuff. So anyway, bench is still a mess. I wish I could clean it off and work on the bench, but nope, just going to do it on the ground with the freaking air sander. Actually, hey, nah, I don't want to take off. It's not rusted, so I don't really need to take off the actual paint completely. I'll just do it with the air body sander. And there we go. Just gave her a quick buzz down, and can't really see it, but I just sanded it quickly with like 300 grit. Good enough. Tape off those tires and give it a little bit of shot of black paint. And these brackets right here is what I was thinking of mounting it on, but it's a little bit too big. And of course, to use this plate here, I'd have to weld in motor mounts and everything else. Bought those for $5 a piece at Princess Auto. So same size shaft, the tires would just bolt right on, but nah, they're from a sprayer unit, so save them for a generator project. And there we go, just have it hanging up, drying. Just have that piece hanging, and of course it's hanging on my Bambi stand right there. So yeah, I know we left that up all year. So no point in taking it down now. Deer hunting is starting on Monday, so that's for archery. So I don't do archery, just muzzle loader and rifle. I'm not worried about it dripping on that motor because this is rocker guard and it's so thick it's not going to drip. Okay, so before I put this engine on here, I guess I better make sure it runs. Paint's almost dry. I'm going to give her a start, make sure she's good. Again, never had this one running yet. Look at that. Engine runs freaking great. But it's almost out of gas, so I better shut it down. I checked the oil. It's a bit low, so I don't want to run it any longer. Just wanted to make sure it was good before I mount it. And of course my cell phone's going nuts. And this is pretty much ready to pull down. It's still a bit tacky, but it's enough that I can start drilling my motor mounts. I'm not worried about filling in those other holes. I'll just leave them. Okay, so I got my engine mounted up right there. Very crappy template I just drew from the bottom. I'm going to drill my holes. Now 2 of the holes line up, and but I want to go center with it, so I'm not going to use those holes. So I'm going to go in pattern, so these 2 holes are going to be right there, so it's going to be kind of weird, but anyway, just watching a live chat here. Right there, so you can see who's there. And in the middle of just deciding if I want to mount the motor today or just wait till tomorrow. But I think I'm going to go for it, finish it up today. I might get a rebuild kit for the pump, which is around the corner. Not too sure just yet. Okay, so there you go. My holes are drilled. Going to bolt down the motor, bolt up the pump, and too late tonight, but tomorrow I'll hook up the garden hose, double check the pump's good. If that's good, I'll probably end up maybe trying her out tomorrow. Not too sure. I'm going to take off the air intake heater. I'm going to take off the air intake heater, and other than that, the motor is probably going to stay pretty much stock. I would love to put a huge ass stack on it, you know, roast some coal when I'm washing stuff, but don't think I need to on this. It's probably better to keep it a little bit quieter. So Anyway, get back to you guys once I mount the motor. And I'm just using the stock hardware from the 5-horse. So it's not like there's going to be any torque on this plate. All the torque's just directly from the pump to the motor. So anyway, get back to you guys in a bit. Okay, so the motor's mounted. It's too late to start her up. I kind of wanted to try doing a cold start, kind of first start kind of thing on the stand. You see, I just used the factory hardware there. A little bit skinny, but again, it doesn't matter. The torque's going to be multiplied, I guess you could call it, through these 4 bolts to the pump. Anyway, I'm going to bolt up the pump, and I'm still thinking if I do mount the battery, the only place I can really mount the battery is going to be on top of the pump over here. Yeah, I could buy one of those lithium tiny battery packs for it. But again, you know, this is such a small motor. I'm guessing it's going to start up pretty damn easy. There's not going to be much room here. I did move the motor a little bit more forward in hopes that I can actually use that handle with all the cords hanging in here, like all the pressure washer hoses. So just so they're not dangling on the ground kind of thing. So anyway, kind of slowly working on it and watching live streams on YouTube. So okay, so just going over this, decided to change the oil on the dipstick because I turned it upside down and it actually started to seep pretty bad. So that there's just brake clean everywhere because I squirted some of the oil off it. Never seized the shaft. Going to put some light thread lock on the bolts when I bolt it on because that's what it had before. And I'm going to throw her on. Okay, so I started putting on the pump. Realized that the bolts that held the pump on the Briggs were a different thread pattern. I looked throughout the garage. I didn't have any bolts that would fit it. But I did have some studs. So I decided, whatever, I'll use some studs. I just finished installing them, cranking them all nice and tight. Of course, I didn't want to go too tight because I don't know how on the Chinese engine, you know, how tight can you go before it pushes right through into the freaking case. So yeah. Those are installed, and it's a kind of a good thing that I actually ended up having the wrong ones. Because when I pulled off the pump, this key for one was actually shoved inside, it was actually in place there, right? And I thought it was all one piece. So when I pulled off the pump, I found this guy right inside here, all the way down. So thank God. So I know now when I install it, I'll leave it on the shaft here and install the pump. Okay, so last night, the only thing I finished doing before I shut off the camera was I took the intake heater off. Didn't need it. That intake heater, I tested it. Oh man, that will start this machine probably in minus 40 weather. So it's the grid style heater, and man, does that get red hot. So it is freaking nuts. Just thought I'd throw that in the video for the hell of it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull this outside. I'm going to hook the garden hose up here. And then I'm going to just prime the pump and make sure the pump actually squirts just out of the outlet holes there before I hook up the big wand or anything like that. Make sure the pump's good. So bring it outside and I'll try to set this up on a tripod. Okay, no idea how well that showed up, but the pump seems to be working fine. I'll go grab the wand. Well, I went to go start fishing for the holes to actually see what it works under pressure, and it just started to pour rain. Oh, yeah, I think I bent that front pole right there, the one that goes down, when I took it out of the garage, because I don't know if the motor was sitting on that kind of angle before. To fix that, I'll just have to, there's a bolt in the actual front peg there, it can be unbolted. And I'll try to bend it straight, because the motor sitting on an angle like this most likely wouldn't matter, but I might fix it. And yeah, it's a little bit heavy moving it around now, so that motor's a lot heavier than that old 5-horse there. So anyway, probably tomorrow, which will be Monday, holiday Monday, I'll hook it up to the pressure washer, natural hose up to it, and try it out. Well, I think it's time to clean the workbench. Also might try to put the racing tractor underneath the workbench. This box I'll have to move about 4 inches that way and make some room, but not going to be working on it anytime soon. I am going to be mounting probably a 4 or a 6 horsepower diesel on that small tractor. And I got a gunsmithing project to do for a buddy, so I better clean off my workbench and get some tools out here. Going to do it in the garage instead of working in the basement or at home. So anyway, might make a video about that, might not. It's kind of hard to say. Okay, so this is the holes right here that I'm going to be using on it. Has a weird ass bypass system on it there. Anyway, just going to be using some sealant there and installing the holes. Then I guess I'll be giving it a try. And there we go. I'm pretty sure that's the way it all came before. Yes, I do gotta get a 90 in here because I want that aiming straight up. Because right now I push it into anything, it's going to get broken off. I got a zip tie on the handle there, so I'm leaving the zip tie, so of course no pressure lock and, you know what I mean, blow her apart. So I'm about to give it a try. And as you can see, I straightened out that bottom arm, so the motor is sitting now perfectly straight. Don't know how long it's going to last with that heavy motor dragging it down this flight of stairs. Well, not flight of stairs, but that little step right there. But anyway, give it a try. If it all works good, I'll end up using this thing. I got a good week. Right there on the bypass. Strip over here too. And this ain't doing anything. Stripped. That was just I think I got some pressure in that hose. Looks like that bypass hole is shot. I don't know how that's set right now. The screw that goes in it there is just kind of feels stripped. So actually no, now it feels like it's working. Weird. But anyway, no water's coming out in there even when the trigger's pressed down. So before I run it anymore, I gotta try to figure out what's up with that. Well, after all that, the hose is plugged up. Somewhere either in the controller or it could be in the tip. I got some slight dripping out of the tip. I just cracked this line back, and when I did it, I just cracked it back and it squirted pretty damn good under here. So this is under, right now under 2000 PSI or whatever. So it's just starting to stop dripping, but I'm going to let it sit now. Garden hose water is off. Just going to let it sit until it stops dripping, because I do not need to pop this quick release fitting off and find out that it's rusted more than it looks like and get a face full of water. So don't need the hose flying at me is what I mean. Okay, so the first place I checked is the tip there, this guy right here. I didn't want to just remove it there, I want to remove the whole assembly, and yeah, look at that. That's after banging it out only twice, and I probably stepped on it, but a whole pile of shit came out there. Some came out right there. Oh, there's that big log right there. So anyway, going to have to give this a thorough cleaning, and seeing how bad this is kind of makes sense because it's the tightest, smallest jet on the machine. It's kind of like a jet on a carb, you could say. So I'm going to flush that out thoroughly, see if I can break it loose. I'll probably remove this end here. And then after, I'll flush out the holes and with the air, and once I can blow through it, I'll let the pressure washer clean the rest of it out. So anyway, clean this out and then I'll give it a try. Okay, so the hose is clear. Quite a bit of rust came flying out of her there. It's like most car washes you go to where it doesn't completely shut itself off, so that kind of sucks. But anyway, check out how plugged up this is. This is the jet at the end, plugged completely solid. So, and same with this. That is not a filter. That is meant to be see-through. And again, this here is plugged right up to the end. So, got a little bit of cleaning to do before I go ahead anymore. Okay, time for the final test. I put back on the tip, it plugged up again. This is the second time trying it, and we'll see what happens. Well, it seems to run pretty good. Besides, there's a lot more smoke than I'm expecting, so I don't want to run it too long. Must be because it's kerosene in it and not diesel, I'm guessing, but I know kerosene normally runs just as clean. I put the camera in the garage here because I didn't want it to get wet. Anyway, again, I never let it warm up very much there, so I'm sure once it warms up the smoke would start or stop. But I'll wait a few days and give it a good test, maybe in a few days, and see what happens. Okay, so here she is. It's done so far. Everything works good on it. I don't want to run it much longer than like a minute because being not warmed up, it was chooching quite a bit of smoke, and I have a feeling my neighbors were outside in their backyard, and I'm pretty sure the smoke was going towards them. So I didn't exactly want to, let's say, fog them out, so I shut her off. The other few things that I need to do to it now is I'm probably going to be changing the trigger, the whole wand assembly, because I know that one, the actual handle there, it seems to do nothing when it's on. Doesn't matter if I squeeze it or let it go, it seems to have the same pressure. So, and one other reason why I don't want to run it much longer, I am pretty much out of gas. It's not even showing up anymore. No, I guess it does if I tilt it. I'm not sure if that's showing up. Has a cool gas gauge on the side. A few other things I want to do is I want to put a 90 on here, so I want this whole mechanism going up. I got to make sure if I do that, that I'll have room to mount a battery up here. I am thinking about mounting a small battery, because if I turn this up, I should have room still within here to mount a small battery. Another reason why I don't want to run it much longer today is this thing needs an oil change. I don't even know what oil they put in it. I'm sure it's going to be the right one because the company that owned it knew what they were doing. They sold Herman Nelson's. So I'm sure that's good oil. It looks clean, but just to be safe, I am going to dump the oil and replace it. A few other things, of course, this wiring here, I want to touch this up, tidy it up somewhere so it's not, you know, dragging or not going to, you know, short out or anything. And other than that, I gotta probably break this free. I'll just unbolt this, take the bolt right out, take this off, take out the spring, see if the piston moves back and forth, because right now it doesn't seem to have much pressure, but turning this doesn't do anything. I have to actually put a socket on it. Oops, that was out of view. Turning this doesn't do anything. I gotta put a socket on it. And right now it's set pretty decent, but gotta still do a few things. Air filter, of course, I checked it. It's minty, looks brand new. As you can see, I took out the intake heater. And other than that, it seems to be good. So, as for where to put the soap now, I have no idea where to even put soap on this machine. I'm guessing to put soap on it, it would be under one of these plugs. I don't know exactly which ones. There is a hole right here, but I'm pretty sure that's just a bleed off for the bypass. So from the bypass system here. Not too sure. I'm sure if I go onto the manufacturer's website right there, or Google them, I'll be able to figure out how it works. Anyway, that's, in my opinion, a successful test run, and it's already getting pretty late in the season. I don't know if I'll be getting to use it much this year, but if not, probably the spring. So now I got to pull in my other pressure washer and get it going. And I pretty much almost finished cleaning my workbench. Oh God. I do still plan on putting a few shelves across there, probably 2 layers. That's just a piece of plywood sitting up on top of those corner shelves. One day I'll screw them up to the top there. But again, as for the racing tractor, not much going on with it right now. I'm still waiting on trying to find a good deal on clutches. So anyway, comment if you think I should bother with electric start. To be honest, I think it would be a waste. This thing starts up first pull every time so far. So every time it has started up first pull. So so even when it's been sitting for 5 years, like in the garage here. Well, mind you, I kind of gave it a slow prime pump the first time, but yeah. Anyway, that's everything. Sweet.